Good afternoon. Rich Nass with Open Systems Media here for this week's installment of 5 Minutes With. This week I have the pleasure of speaking to Stefan Skarin, and he is the CEO of IAR Systems. Good morning, or I guess it's good afternoon for you. Stefan, how are you?
Oh, I'm just fine, thanks, Rich. It's a beautiful sunshine. We have actually summertime in Sweden as yesterday, so we're enjoying longer days as well, as you can see. But it's a sunshine, so it's a great afternoon, thank you.
Well, that's certainly a subject we could talk about for a very long time, because I don't even know what summer is anymore, because it's 80 degrees in the middle of the winter and it seems to snow in the fall, but that's a whole different subject. Let's talk about technology here. Okay, so you have been in the embedded software development space for quite some time, and I won't even say how long because we don't want to date you, but I'd love to talk about some of that wealth of experience you have. And let's start with our industry has changed so much in the, let's say, 25 years. Let's talk about some of the things that have actually changed a real lot, mostly for the better, I hope, in that time. Give me some examples of things you've seen that have changed a lot.
Well, I think it's a couple of things, and I actually want to express one area where I think it's positive that it's not changed. But let's talk about the change first. I think the speed of momentum is of course changing a lot. I think things move faster now, and if you look at the last couple of years with Internet of Things, that was a fast movement. Even if it was not a new area, it's moving fast. Another area that's definitely changing and moving fast is the way we use technologies today in a different way. Automotive is just one recent example we can talk about for long. Self-driving cars and all the IP in the car today, that's of course a big difference. But I think that another change is also the fact that we address IT more and more for sort of the consumer market, in not the way of consumer products, but more the consumer use, like Internet of Things, of course, but in medical area, for example. That I think is an astonishing development we have in using information technology and making life better for us human beings. So that's a big.
So what does that mean for our industry, though? How does that affect what we do in embedded software development, for example?
I think that the number of investments made in the software side instead of the hardware side is increasing. I think Gartner Group last year somewhere in December announced the fact that for a cost of the embedded application or embedded system product is now actually more into software than the hardware. So I think the trend where we also see on consolidation that we can express a few minutes, and is also interesting to see that there's a consolidation taking place from actually then the core of the technology is not only the hardware side, it's actually the software side. So the drive in that.
And where is that? Where is that investment taking place? I mean, if you're talking software, is it mostly people?
I think it's on the services side. Yes, it is. Also the level of complexity is demanding more resources. So I see a clear need that many of my customers are actually recruiting more now than they ever done before in technology sector. If you're an engineer today, you have definitely not any problem to find you a job. If you're in finance or if you're in any other area, I think it's a bit of a bigger challenge. One university I spoke to a couple of weeks ago, they said, they need to fight for the engineers a couple of years before they actually graduate, and in the technology sector.
What if we flip that around from the other perspective? Are you having a hard time finding good people?
Yes and no. We have that for certain areas, but, Sweden is also, where we have core development, is also known for the game industry. So we lose, a lot of traction to the game industry, and that's, of course, a lot of acquisitions made, a lot of big money, a lot of high salaries. Embedded space might not have the same profile as that, but we can recruit engineers. That's not a problem. But it's, of course, a lot of requests also to outsource our development that we don't want to do. We want to keep it here in Sweden where we have our sort of core values.
Okay. So now let's talk about IAR specifically. What changed the most? Maybe that's not the right way to describe it, but what's a big change you've seen over the course of 25 years specific to IAR?
Yeah, if I take the change that has happened, and it's actually, I can give you a very concrete example. We had we've been around for soon 35 years. We basically had the same value proposition for the last 34 years. And one of the key words we had in that value proposition is independency. We always want to be independent, be seen as independent, and work with our partners and ecosystems. But during the last few years, we've seen a tremendous consolidation, and the word independent or independency is not really as strong when you talk to customers, because most of our customers know that they're heading towards ARM. If they don't have an ARM solution or an application, they're definitely going to move there. All the proprietary technologies are basically disappearing one by one. I made a summary a couple of months ago where we actually see close to $45 billion disappearing in different consolidations. For us, that means less products to maintain. Of course, the customers are still there to use it, but the fact that the world is consolidating is also changing the number of partners or ecosystem players we have. It's also spreading into smaller transactions where we want to be active and where we want to sort of close transactions and increase our offering, is that those are also sucked into this either proactive or reactive consolidation. We have, for example, a couple on the RTOS side. We have on the analysis tool side. We've seen transactions of a smaller range that might not attract that much media, but still disappearing as an opportunity for us.
So is it easier or harder for you to do business today than it was a few years ago?
I think it's easier in one way because we have sort of a more defined focus area. On the other hand, it's opening up the fact that the consolidation drives, demand for ecosystems not only built through partnerships, it's also built through acquisitions. So the number of players available in creating things or creating a demand is getting more tougher. On the other hand, it's opening up for us to be closer and have a strategic alliance to few partners where we actually do more because we are more open and we need to decide on, this is really helpful for our customers. So I think that is, the positive side of it. We're getting fewer to work with, but we work with them more closely.
Okay, so one final question. What do you think your biggest challenge is going to be going forward over the next few years?
We touched on it already. I think recruitment is one thing, and then, of course, to keep up in the momentum of the consolidation of the market. We need to now actively plan for it and see what we can do, because definitely we have seen a few transactions, and they will definitely continue. So I think that's a challenge to increase our offering in the consolidation and maintain our position, and then doing that by recruiting good talents.
Very good. Well, I wish you the best of luck in that. You guys have such a good reputation. I would think that helps you a lot. So I appreciate
that. Thank you.
My pleasure. That was 5 minutes with Stefan Skarin. He is the CEO of IAR Systems. I hope you have a great day, Stefan.
Thank you. Likewise.